Hi folks, it's Woody here at USA Made Blade, and just coming to you with a video that has been actually quite a bit requested lately. We haven't been doing a lot of videos. We need to get better about it, but this one's had some demand for it, so we thought we'd do it. I did kind of do just a quick search on YouTube and didn't see much on it. So the point of this video is basically how to tune your knife when it's running on phosphor bronze washers. And while a lot of people say it's not that difficult, other people seem to struggle with it. And sometimes it depends upon the knife, but a lot of times it really depends upon the person. So we're going to kind of jump into this. And the way I decided to start this video was I was already anodizing some Southern Grind spider monkeys. So I've got one here that we anodized the liners bronze. So I've got it partially assembled here, and just going to show you guys the steps that I go through to tune this thing up. I am using KPL. I was actually got some of this at Blade Show from a friend and been pretty pleased with how it works. So with phosphor bronze washers, you're going to need to lube. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. So everything's put back together on the presentation side of this one. So just going to get my washers on here, working from behind the camera, so forgive my slightly unsteady hands. And I will put way too much lube on that other side, but that's okay. Just a little bit right on the washer there. Get the knife on. And a little bit on each side. I am not one to use much lube at all. It really doesn't need much. So please don't let that first glob that I put on there make you think that's what you need. Just a little, just enough to see it on there. So yeah, that's just barely on there. That's typically all you need. And then let's go ahead and just get everything together here. Ooh, would really help if I didn't screw this up and put my stop pin in. And so I'm going to do the Spider Monkey first and then the ZTO 640 second. And of course it doesn't want to cooperate right now. There we go. Get everything on there. Oops, like I said, working from behind the camera, it's not exactly easy. And when I'm reassembling, I like to just go ahead and get this pivot on here. You can go in the other order. It kind of depends upon where your hands are, to be honest. And I don't go all the way tight on this at all. I go to where I feel just a little snug. And then get that handle screw. And I do highly recommend Weehaw bits for the torque stuff. I think they're the best. Anyway, and then if you're messing with the spider monkey assembly, disassembly, make sure that the longest screw goes in the center of that pocket clip. And we'll get to the getting everything centered here first, or in just a second. And it's not just centering. Centering's actually very easy with phosphor bronze washers most of the time. It's actually getting it to where the action's good. Over tighten that center screw. So I take a lot of these apart and put them back together because we do a lot of anodized liners on them. And we haven't done bronze in a very long time, but I've been having enough requests for it. I was kind of planning to just do blue, but anyway, it's a good look on this knife. So you'll see we're together, everything's tight, except I didn't tighten that pivot up too much. And I like to just flip it open and close. We probably are gonna have just a hair of blade play here. So this is the trick. So go ahead and give it a good tightening. Get it all the way tightened down. We should still be sitting dead centered, and we are. And if we're all the way tightened down, this thing, I mean, it takes some strength to open it. And then from here, I start backing off with what I call micro turns. So if you watch the Boker written on here, see, sometimes it'll jump on you. And I'll go back about halfway of where it jumped to. And, well, I never get that lucky first time. And honestly, nah, that's still too tight. If I'm being completely honest, that's too tight. So it can still, once again, if you watch where the Boker is, I call these just micro turns. And you see how little that moved, and that might have been too much. Nah, that's perfect actually. So let's see if she's centered. I've got another video out about how to get centering that works really well, especially on washers. So if you need to look at that one. So that's it. I mean, it's just the micro turns. I'll show it to you again. And this has, it's perfect action. Now you're never, to me, you can sit here and work it and work it. Let me try. I'll give it just a little hair more. See if that developed blade play. It did not. You can get them where they're drop shutty, but that I will tell you takes a lot of time and a lot of work. And usually it takes washers that have been on there for a good little while. So that is difficult to do, but getting it to where that action is great opening and it's a nice hydraulic feel closing, that's what you want. And you want it sitting dead centered. And that's what we have. So I'm gonna go ahead and do, that's the gist of it. So if you're done with this video, then we appreciate you watching. I'm gonna go ahead and do it again with the ZTO 640. We're getting down to the last of these with the Micarta scales. I hate that this knife is discontinued. Not many knives on phosphor bronze washers anymore. That's really not many at all. So that part kind of stinks. But so I'd say most viewers are probably done because they've learned all they need to learn. The other thing to tell you though is some people, once it's set, they know they're never going to take it apart again. They want it to stay. Then go ahead, if you know that you've got it where you can dial it in, then you can go ahead and take that that pivot out and put a little blue Loctite on it, just a dab on the threads, and then put it back together, get it to where exactly where you liked it before, and leave it for 24 hours, and you shouldn't have to worry about it moving again. But anyway, I thought I'd show it on the 640 as well. The 640, I don't know what it is. I will say the pivot on these is much more finicky. Like those micro turns are much more difficult to do than you would ever think for some reason on the 640. So the 640s doing all these scale swaps has been a challenge. Now the one thing I'll tell you with that is that also when we swap these scales, I've actually done a video on it. We don't, especially if we're not anodizing, then we don't take it completely apart. So sometimes if you want to get lube down in there, or then you've got to do it from the top and just let it drip down, which is no big deal. So this one I'm not anodizing. So line it up, pop this out, get that pivot out. I would say out of all our viewers, maybe 2 will get to this point, but back in and button up the side. But I hope this concept of this will help. I mean, there's just not much out there, and most people think, you know, like a full, like that's a micro turn. No, that is a micro turn. So I'll get to it better when I do this part, but these clip screws back on. I don't know. I do like phosphor bronze washers. I really do. I'm not anti-bearing by any mean, but I feel like phosphor bronze is the old school. It's the original. I wish more knives would go back to it. I don't know. Pretty much everything. It's you know, with the 640 being discontinued, there's just not many good, really good quality knives out there. You know, you still got your Chris Reeve knives, but I'd like to see some stuff in the price range where the 640 was, or where the Southern Grind Spider Monkey is. And maybe we will. Maybe that'll be the big comeback for this year. The 2023 Blade Show comeback. I believe all the Spartans. Yeah, the Spartans are on phosphor bronze. They're well done. I don't know. But I do love bearings, though, so I guess I need to shut up. I like them all. If I didn't, I probably shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. The screw does not want to cooperate. There she is. A screw on this back end here. I'll sit here and try and do my Nick Shabazz impression. I'll save you guys the destruction of your ears. So, all right, so we're together, and if it needs lube, you can just put a drop down each side. I mean, we're talking about just a little. And I usually do it before, oh, that was way too much. But I'll usually do it before I get that pivot tightened up. I'll work it back and forth. I'm actually gonna get this out of screen for a second. Use a paper towel to clean that up some. But I'll rock it back and forth a little bit to get some of that down in there. And then from here, same concept. You know, get this thing on here, tighten it all the way down. Sometimes with these 640s, it does throw them off a little off center. Looks like this one's sitting a little to the left. And then just start coming back off of it. And it's pretty good. Let's see how we're sitting centered. Okay, so this is still, by the way, way too tight. So watch the weehaw again, and you're gonna see how little I turn that. Really good. Still off-centered. This one might need a little centering help. Let me see if that's just the, some of it's just the way that lock's coming in. It's really, when I took it away and looked at it, it's not bad, but pretty darn good action. Closing though, we're still a little stiff. So, like so, we just keep working our way backwards here. So let me get the weehaw part showing again, because I think that really helps emphasize what I'm talking about with these just very minuscule turns. So it's so small, not even sure you can tell I'm doing it. Still no blade play. So a lot of times on these, I take them almost or to the point of blade play, and then I'll tighten them back up. Another trick I'll show you. So once again, that was a micro turn. That's feeling just about perfect. So another trick I'll show you that actually Rick Hinder taught me years ago was, once you get it about where you want it, give that some good flex back and forth like you're trying to find blade play. And wow, that I probably have to redo this video. That does make a difference. It just, I don't know what it does, just melds those parts together a little more. But that is wicked smooth. So I'm just curious, we're gonna come back off just a tad more. That was probably more than I wanted to. It'll shake down. It's pretty darn good. And let's see if there's any blade play. None. So that's what I do. That sure as hell shouldn't have taken 15.5 minutes to explain, but it did. So anyway, that's it. That's the best way to explain it. Micro turns. Be real patient, real steady with both hands. It's hard for me to say that when I'm probably look like I'm shaking like crazy behind the camera here, but just micro turns. And once you get it comfortable, you've got you're oiled up in there and everything else, then like I said, if you want to Loctite that pivot, just take it out and repeat the process. But this one turned out perfect, but it can take a while, especially if you don't work on knives much. So be patient and keep trying. And if you have any questions, just let me know. The 640s and the Southern Grind Spider Monkeys, the 640s aren't going to be in stock much longer, but the Southern Grind Spider Monkeys, we have them with blue liners. We're going to have some popping up here soon with bronze liners, probably in the next day. And we've got them regular as well. So go check them out at usmablade.com. And as always, folks, we appreciate you watching.